Hey, welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to buy land with no money down. I'm going to show you how to do a $205,000 land deal, how with 2 words you can do it too, and stay tuned to the very end. I'm going to show you how I'm getting paid for the next 30 years on this one land deal. All right. How to profit over $205,000 on one land deal. Let me break this story down a little bit. This was a piece of land that my father had found. It was his next door neighbor. My parents live on 21 acres in Florida, but their next door neighbor had 14 acres that he wanted to sell. And it had kind of like a broken down barn with a little apartment in it and a mobile home on it. So I'm looking at this property like, oh my goodness, it's income producing, but it's also this great piece of land. All these places, all these ways to make money with it. So let me tell you how I made over $205,000 with this piece of land. So the purchase price was $75,000. That was a huge chunk of money at that time. I had just had a brand new baby. This was in 2015, and I was kind of just getting started in land, so I didn't have tons of cash. So I had many negotiations and talks. I don't like to call them negotiations. I like to call them friendly talks with this seller, and we kind of got to know each other. I found out what he was looking to do, and he needed $30,000 to buy an RV because he wanted to travel the country for the rest of his life. He was starting to get a little older, and he was willing to hold a $45,000 note, basically a mortgage for me. So I got him the $30,000 down, and he held the mortgage for me for $45,000 at principal only payments. What does that mean? What does principal only payments mean? It's basically 0% interest. So every single payment of $400 reduced the balance of that $45,000 loan. I had another challenge though, and that was coming up with $30,000. Well, this $30,000 might as well have been $100,000 to me because I didn't have it at the time. Like I said, we just had a new baby. I just bought a new house. We just moved to Colorado. I had to figure out a way. And I'm going to talk to you about the two words that I kind of hooked you in with, and that's credit card. Yes, I borrowed $30,000 from a credit card company called USAA. It was their personal loan at 15%. They sent me a credit card, and I did a cash advance for $30,000 and closed on this parcel of land. All right, so now we're closed on the land, and I had to figure out a way to make this $400 a month plus pay off this credit card. So what did I do? I found a renter for the mobile home. That got me $450 a month. And then I found the renter for the barn apartment that got me $600 a month. All right, so now I have a renter in both of these properties. I'm making a great discretionary income. I'm getting roughly $1,050 a month. My payment to the gentleman that sold me is $400 a month. And now I'm chiseling away this credit card because it's at 15%. So I want to get that down pretty quick. So what did I do? I was ready to be done renting out apartments and mobile home because these buildings were kind of falling apart, and it's kind of funny. I put them on buy sell group and Craigslist to rent them out, and I was kind of getting a little bit of a dirty name. They were calling me a slumlord, and this is the area I came from, so I didn't want to be known as a slumlord. So I put a for sale sign on this property. $159,000 is what the land appraised for. I talked to my local appraiser. He said, yeah, you can sell it for $159,000 easy. And we just assumed the buildings weren't worth anything because, it's time to tear them down. So I put a for sale sign up for $159,000, but I was giving one thing, and that was seller financing, because I'm huge on being paid for a period of time. I'm huge on time, like time income or time freedom is what I call that. So every time we do a deal, if we're paid for many years on it, I call that time freedom. So I wanted to offer to someone 30 years of financing for this, easy, affordable monthly payments, and an easy down payment. And the cool thing about 30-year mortgages, the banks have it figured out. For the first 5 to 7 years, it's all interest. It's completely interest-free. And if you look over the life of the loan, let's just take a $200,000 mortgage at 6%. That is over $400,000 in payments paid over 30 years if you never refinance it. That is a huge chunk of money. It's not really 6%, it's like 115%. It's crazy. So if you sell something on a 30-year mortgage, you're gonna collect so much more. So I sold it for $159,000. I got a $30,000 down payment. That way I was able to pay off that credit card and get that paid down. And then here's the thing. I'm gonna be paid for the next 30 years, $638 a month. And I did all this with no money down. I'm gonna collect over $205,000 in net profit on this one deal, the way it worked out. So let's break down this 30-year mortgage example. If you bought the property for $200,000 at 6% interest, over 30 years of payments, you're gonna pay over $400,000. That's not 6%, that's like 200%. So before I get into the last point of breaking this down, how to be paid for the next 30 years of my life, comment below if you have any questions, if you've ever set something like this up before, or if you're trying to figure out how to set this up or how to go about buying a piece of land with a credit card. Feel free to comment below. I try and read all these and answer as best as I can. Let's talk this through a little bit more. I now have a buyer that's paying a total of almost $200 and something thousand for this piece of land that I only paid $75,000 for. None of the money came out of my own pocket because I didn't have the money at the time. I got the seller to allow to do what we call a seller carryback, to where he took principal only payments at 0% interest. And I was also able to leverage a credit card to get into this property. Most people have no clue how to buy a property with no money down, or how to buy a piece of land with no money down. It is that easy. There's nothing crazy about this. You've just got to be willing to do it, willing to try, willing to go forward. Now, when I pulled the trigger on this property over 6 years ago, I had no clue that all these events would take place. I just knew that it was a great asset that I was buying at a discount. See, here's the thing. In the beginning, I was still getting it at a discount. I was getting it for great terms. So if you can get terms and discounts, that makes a no money down deal even better. So we're talking about how to buy land with no money down. See, here's the thing. Most people, 99 out of 100 people, probably would not sell me this land on these terms. This seller was motivated. He was ready to go ahead and unleash this burden from himself. He wanted to travel the country. He wanted to buy an RV. So you just got to remember that 99 out of 100 people are not going to give you these amazing terms and this amazing price that this gentleman gave me. It took many discussions, many phone calls, meeting him, and after about a month, it all worked out. So I want to talk to you about the last point, getting paid for the next 30 years. So when I sold this parcel of land, I got a down payment of $30,000, and now I'm getting about $638 a month for the next 30 years at 6% interest. This buyer is so happy. He has already planted trees all over this property. He's mowing the place. It looks beautiful, and he pays his payment on time every single month. I'm gonna be 65 years old when this land is paid for. So it's almost like I did something one time that maybe took me a month of work, and it really didn't take long. It didn't take a month, maybe a month of speaking with this gentleman, but it's now paying me for 30-something years. So guys, if you're interested in anything like this, head on over to thelandsharks.com. I teach people how to do this every single day. We've got an amazing course, got video modules and support, and you'll get access to me, and I can teach you how to do these exact same things.